Well, hello, my first grade friends, and welcome back to Story Time at Home with Mr. S. We have been reading my big fat zombie goldfish, and we have already started the second part of the book. We are on chapter 2 called The Creature from the Green Lagoon. Now, remember, in chapter 1, we met Pradeep's brother Sanjay, and he's kind of a bully himself, right? He's always dropping Pradeep on his head, and Frankie the goldfish got really mad about it. So we're going to read 3 chapters today. I'm going to read you chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. That way we'll finish this book by the end of the week, and you won't have to guess what happens next because we'll get to the end of it. So here we go. Chapter 2, The Creature from the Green Lagoon. Pradeep and I got to school just before the breakfast counter closed. That's when I realized the difference between school breakfast and a big fat zombie goldfish. One is a scary green bulging lump swimming in a pool of toxic waste, and the other is a fish. I stared down at my plate as I went through the cafeteria line, and my green lump jiggled as I moved. The lunch lady tapped the protective lunch lady glass with her fingernail. "More egg?" she said. I shook my head and pushed through the line. "It's an egg," I told Pradeep as I got to the cereal section of the counter. "Oh, I was wondering," he said. Pradeep was getting his usual. He'd eaten the same breakfast every day since he discovered it in first grade. Choco Rice Pops on toast. If there is ever a Choco Rice Pop shortage, then Pradeep's breakfast world will end. "Should I get something for Frankie to eat?" Pradeep asked. Ever since we've had Frankie, we've been trying to figure out what zombie goldfish eat. At first, we were scared that it might be brains. I mean, that's what all the comic books and movies tell you, right? But the problem is, A, zombie goldfish only have a couple of rotten teeth. B, brains float. C, goldfish have no hands. And D, even if they could hold the brains still, zombie goldfish only have a couple of rotten teeth. Therefore, E, brains would make a zombie goldfish really mad. What we eventually realized is that zombie goldfish like to eat anything green, like green breadcrumbs, the moldier the better, or green bits of algae scraped up from the side of the pond. "I don't think Frankie's hungry," I answered. "He had some green cupcake crumbs before school." My backpack started to wobble from side to side on my back. Frankie must have been thrashing around. I unzipped my bag to check on him. "I'm not sure it's a good idea to have Frankie in school," Pradeep said. "We had to bring him to school, Pradeep," I said. "If we left him alone with Mark, it might be Mark who ends up in the freezer." "Hey, morons!" I heard a chilling voice behind me. Frankie swished his tail so hard he made his plastic bag tip out of the Tupperware box. I turned him the right way up and rezipped my backpack. Same silly school, same silly morons. Mwahaha! Mark laughed his evil scientist laugh. "No, it couldn't be. Not him, not here, not now." "No way," I said as I turned around. "Way, moron," said Mark, flicking up the collar of his evil scientist's white coat. "I'm at your school today. I gotta do an important experiment in the science lab." "Why, our science lab?" Pradeep asked. "The lab in my school kind of blew up," Mark said. Cue evil laugh again. "So I've been sent to this dump for the day." This wasn't good. Frankie was in school. Mark was in school. I had to think what to do, and fast. And that was the end of chapter 2. Chapter 3 is called The Truly Evil Plan. In my head, I scrolled through a list of Frankie evacuation plans that Pradeep and I had worked out on the walk to school. There was just one that didn't seem to require a jetpack. The only choice was for me to pretend to throw up and get sent home from school, taking Frankie with me. The only problem was that the teachers were pretty good at spotting real versus fake vomit. Kids tried to use an applesauce mixed with ketchup, peanut butter, orange juice, or the classic baby food trick, but the teachers knew they were faking and just sent the kids back to class, still covered in applesauce and ketchup. No, I had to get really sick. But how? The answer was staring me in the face. The green slimy breakfast egg was looking up at me from my plate like a big wobbly cyclops. All I had to do was eat that egg. I grabbed Pradeep's Choco Rice Pop spoon from his hand and scooped up the egg. I gave Pradeep a look that said, "I am making the ultimate sacrifice for friend and fish." He nodded respectfully, knowing what I was about to do. I lifted the spoon and closed my eyes. Gulp! Mark slurped down the egg from my spoon. "Too slow, moron," he said, and then burped a perfectly smelly evil scientist burp and headed out of the cafeteria doors. The burp was nearly gross enough to make me sick, but not quite close. Then all of a sudden, brrrring, the fire alarm blared. Everyone ran out into the hallway. "There's no way Mark could have blown up our science lab already," I said to Pradeep. The teachers were assembling people in lines at the classroom doors, ready to exit the building. But then the alarm stopped. Then the TVs that were in the hallway by the front desk, you know, the ones that usually show pictures of the swimming team coming in 27th in a race or advertise a sale at the uniform shop, all came on at the same time. The secretary's computer screen switched on too. And all the whiteboard screens in all the classrooms showed the same letters scrolling across them. BBEDLAM. That spells bedlam. Suddenly a voice boomed out of the speakers. It had one of those distort effect things on it, so the person talking sounded kind of like a robot. "Now we got your attention," the person started to say. But then there was a shuffling sound and a different, snootier robot voice said, "No, let me. Now that we have your attention, we want you to know that this school will soon be run by Bedlam. We've taken over." "I'm sure Bedlam only has one B," Pradeep said. "And we know there is usually only one B in Bedlam. We're not morons, we're being original, okay? So get over it. Where was I? Oh yes, Bedlam has taken over the school. You may now go about your pathetically ordinary lives and await further instructions. There is nothing that can stop us." "Except the moron fish," the other voice butted in. My backpack swung from side to side as Frankie thrashed around. "Be quiet," said the snooty voice. Then there was what sounded like someone being elbowed in the ribs. "We're live on the air, remember?" The snooty robot cleared his throat and continued. "Nothing can stop us now, so don't even try." Just before all the TVs, computers, and whiteboards switched off, I thought I heard the first voice say, "Aw, you cut it off before my evil laugh." Pradeep shot me a look that said, "They said fish, right?" But I didn't really understand the look, so he said out loud, "They said fish, right?" I nodded and shot him back a look that said, "And they said moron, and they talked about an evil laugh." Pradeep really didn't get that look either, so I said it again out loud. Then I said we had to practice our secret looks because we were both kind of rusty. We agreed that the first weird robot voice must have been Mark. Frankie reacted to the voice as soon as he heard it. Pradeep was sure the other one was Sanjay. But what was Sanjay doing here, and why was he with Mark? They aren't even friends. The only thing they have in common is being mostly evil to me and Pradeep. This wasn't good. You know that crawly millipede feeling that I got in my stomach when Frankie was first gunged by Mark? Well, I got it again. Only this time the millipedes invited over a couple of cockroaches and a tarantula for good measure. Oh boy, we're up to Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is called The Rise of Bedlam. We were still all sitting in the hall for assembly listening to Mrs. Prentice, the principal, lecture us about the misuse of school computers and illegally tampering with the fire alarm. Then she said, "I'll find out who did this, and it would be easier for purple traitors if they just came forward now." Mrs. Prentice looked around at me and Pradeep a lot while she was talking. For about 2 seconds, I thought about telling her that Pradeep's evil computer genius big brother and my evil scientist big brother were somehow behind all this, but then I thought that's probably exactly what a purple traitor would say. Even though I really wasn't sure what a purple traitor was, I was definitely sure that I didn't want to become one. I don't even like purple, especially in jelly beans. Pradeep and I knew we had to find out what was going on, and we had to find out now. We each got bathroom passes from our teachers, but left the hall by separate doors so that Mrs. Prentice couldn't follow both of us. She must have thought I looked more suspicious because she followed me, which gave Pradeep the opportunity to get away. I managed to lose her in the art room by hiding behind Darren Schultz's easel. Then I doubled back to catch up with Pradeep. Pradeep snuck up to the computer lab ahead of me and peered around the door. It's where we had our first class anyway, but we needed to get in there before the other kids came out of assembly. I listened carefully for Pradeep's top secret "the coast is all clear" call, which it turns out was, "Hey Tom, there's no one in here." Not his best. I went into the classroom and carefully placed my backpack on the floor. Okay, we need to find everything we can about Bedlam, I said, thinking that I sounded like a guy in spy movies who tells the spies what to do at the beginning of the movie, but then never actually gets to do any of the cool adventure stuff himself. I decided I didn't want to be that guy, so I said, "You know how to do that, right, Pradeep?" He was way ahead of me. Pradeep was already sitting at one of the computers typing away. "I think I found Bedlam's website," he said. "If Mark and Sanjay are working together, then maybe they're out to get us with this Bedlam thing. Why else would they want to take over our school?" "You're paranoid, Pradeep. They probably just want to take over the school to make the cafeteria serve only mega chocolate chunk ice cream, or make all the teachers dress as comic book characters every day or something." "That's just what you would do if you took over the school, right?" Pradeep asked. Maybe, I answered, but I still don't think Mark and Sanjay's evil plans have anything to do with us. Anyway, most evil geniuses just want power for the sake of it, don't they? And they never do anything really cool with it, like cover the earth in giant bubblegum bubbles, or make everyone speak backwards or anything, which would be kind of... I was cut off by a loud, evil scientist laugh that sounded from the speaker on the computer. Then a little animated icon popped up on the screen. "Hey, that little one looks just like you, Pradeep," I said. "It's even got glasses and a Cub Scout kerchief." "And there's you," Pradeep said, pointing to my little icon, rolled in a rug and wedged in a tiny dog flap in a tiny door. The evil scientist's laugh got even louder. Then a giant sneaker appeared at the top of the screen and stomped the little Tom and Pradeep flat. It was like seeing my worst nightmare turn into a video game. Or I could be wrong about the whole "it's not about us" thing, I said. The word Bedlam splattered across the computer screen, and then a word appeared by each letter to spell out "Big Brother's Evil Deeds 2, please ignore the additional 2, little annoying morons." Bedlam's corporate statement. Bedlam is a top-secret organization founded on the premise of doing high-quality evil deeds to little moron brothers and achieving world domination. Wow, Sanjay was right. Bedlam was out to get us, and little brothers everywhere. We had to stop them. "Pradeep, can you block the website or wipe it or something?" I asked. "I don't know. Sanjay is the evil computer genius, not me," Pradeep said. Then, while we were looking at the screen, more words started to appear. "Little annoying moron kids will be turned into our subordinates." Those words were quickly deleted, and this word was typed instead. "Little annoying moron siblings will be turned into subordinates and used to help achieve world domination eventually." "Hey, they're updating the site right now," Pradeep said. "Does that mean they're here?" I asked, grabbing my backpack to keep Frankie close. "No, they could upload it remotely," Pradeep answered, But I interrupted Pradeep's but. "Frankie is gone!" I held up the backpack. "He must have rolled away while we were looking at this website." "So now we have 2 evil big brothers and a zombie goldfish on the loose to worry about," said Pradeep. "What else could go wrong?" "Pradeep, my lovely, you forgot your lunch this morning." Mrs. Kumar's voice filled the school hallway, and I watched Pradeep's face fall so low he had to pick his chin up from the floor. "Anything but that," he sighed. And that, boys and girls, is the end of chapters 2, 3, and 4. I hope you're enjoying this crazy story. Boy, these 2 kids are in a lot of trouble here, right? Their evil scientist brothers want to take over the world and squash them in the process. Plus, Pradeep's mom is here in the school with his lunch. Check out tomorrow. We're going to read chapter 5, 6, and 7 tomorrow. I have to read multiple chapters so we can finish this book in time. I don't want to leave you guys hanging on the storyline. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave me a message on my Google Classroom, and I will see you guys tomorrow.